discipline. One day I will do something that will matter. And behind every story that you hear later on is that same whisper that you had, that I will follow my dream. This is something that was ingrained to me by my parents also, that achievements do not last. You're supposed to have a purpose, because applause and all the achievements, they will fade away. It's your purpose that will endure. And I think sabinke question mundo, and I've been asked this so many times, Kashish, why the army? Why did you leave the world of glamour, and why army? And I smiled, because it was not some grand decision or a sudden decision which I had, that or a moment of epiphany that I would leave the glamour world and I would join the army. For me, it started long back, long before I even wrote the exams, long before I gave any of the interviews. When I was just a little child, I would watch the Republic Day parade in front of the TV, sitting with large eyes, and there I would look out for all the weapons, I would look out for all the officers who would lead the parade, the way they would march with their quiet dignity. I think it started from there. And then, as a child, I didn't know how to apply. मुझे कौन खबर हुई कि क्या exams हैं, entries क्या हैं. But I remember coming back to Ulhasnagar every summer vacation and seeing my Nana ji. He was a commissioner. He retired as a commissioner in the police. And I remember seeing his photo every time. And in the tales that he would tell me about his life, I realized one thing, that uniform is not just a uniform. It's a responsibility to lead, to be more than yourself, and to have a purpose. So I think it started from there, and from there it grew on. But in between my life, I had a lot of other opportunities. As you saw, at the age of 7, I participated in a pageant. And I didn't know that years later, pageantry would find me again, and I would get the title of Miss International India. During all this time, there was the world of glamour, there were people who were praising me. Everybody asked this question, who am I becoming? And that is the question that mattered to me a lot. I got a lot of opportunities, I got to speak in various public forums. A lot of girls came up to me and said that I was inspiring them. But there was this one thing that I kept thinking, that am I only speaking of courage, or is there any way that I can actually do something about it? And life gave me that answer when I got introduced to an organization called NCC, the National Cadet Corps, which was ingrained in discipline, where your success did not matter, it mattered what you're doing as a team. Your ambition was secondary, service was before. And that was sort of like a stepping stone for me, because I got a glimpse of what my life could be in the army. And from there on, there was no looking back, because my question changed from what can I achieve to how can I serve. And because my dream was still alive, and I think there are a few people that I have to thank, and those are my parents, because for us, service was not something that was that thing that came up on the day of national holidays. Service was ingrained since day one. Patriotism was ingrained in the way we were living. And that is something that I would like to tell all the parents who are present here, that I think children watch how we act at home, the way we behave. So if you can inculcate those things, children will inculcate those values in themselves. Because you see, character, if you can think of a character as a tree, and all the other values, they're like the shadow. So as your character will build, the shadow will grow, all the values will grow. So, and to the student present here of the Sindhu youth wing, anytime you have a dream, don't curtail yourself, because I feel if you have a dream big enough, you will put in the work for it. You will find the ways and means to do it. There's something that I'd like to leave you with, that never limit your life by the ambitions that you want, but by the lives you've touched upon. How much of an impact can you make in other people's lives? And don't limit yourself by the applause, because that will fade away. But work on your own values, work on your character, because that is something that will truly last. You don't have to be a name. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be an engineer. You don't have to be anybody who's a great person. All you have to do is be a person of character. And if I can do it, I can bet my word, I can bet my life that anybody, especially anybody from our own community, can do it. And I'm sure in the coming years, we'll see a lot more aspirants clearing the UPSC exams, and we'll have a lot more people with me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was truly inspiring, Kashish. And on behalf of Students Wing, I do have a couple of questions, if I may just take 2 minutes. So the first question is that we all want to know coming from the beauty pageant, from the glamour world, and now to the army, what were the kind of challenges you faced during your time in the glamour world and during your time serving the nation?
I think it was a completely opposite world. So, I mean, was it hard? Yes. Was it easy? I mean, can anybody else do it? Absolutely. I think it was a complete shift because on one place you were wearing high heels, you were talking to the people, you were having various events, flying from one place to the another. On the other hand, there was a complete contrast where my nails were cut. On one hand, I was having extensions. Here, my nails were cut. On the first day that you land on academy, no matter how long your hair are, they'll be cut in that zero cut. So that was a huge contrast. But again, I always thought of it this way that, see, if you go to Balaji, a lot of people who go to temples, they donate their hair. So for me, it was that I'm doing it something for the greater good. Anything that I was doing, I kept thinking that it's for a larger purpose. There were a lot of contrasts. There was a world of glamour. Here, there was a fulfilling feeling. And I think that is what drew me towards the army, because I always wanted to be doing something that made me feel that I'm part of something bigger, I'm doing something purposeful. So I accomplished my dream and I was happy to be part of it.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you. One more question. How did you shut off the outside noise? I'm sure after the pageant there would be so much noise, so many opportunities coming in, and there would मतलब ये moment होंदो कि ता double mind में होंदो कि अरे हे क्या the outside noise के किया shut किया, and how did you listen to your core belonging?
So as I said, for me it was not a sudden moment. I'd always realized that as a child, as I said, seeing those Republic Day parades, that cross-eyed girl watching the parade, I knew that I wanted to be a part of this. Of course, once I cleared, I got the crown, there were offers, there were various opportunities. But in my heart, I knew that this is where I belong. You know, sometimes when you close your eyes and you think of the dream that you saw as a child, sometimes they say, dreams, they don't choose you. You don't choose your dreams, they choose you. And I think this dream was building for a very long time, and it called out to me. And I think the calling was so strong that I knew this is where I had to be. There was nothing stopping me. And
Lovely, thank you so much, Kashish. We have a few more students to ask questions. Yes.
Jai Shri ma'am. I am myself Krishan Chawla, and I wanted to ask this, that how does it feel to be in the Indian Army and serving to the greater purpose, because all we've looked at upon the Army in movies also, we know they are partially true but majorly untrue. So I wanted to know, how does it feel to finally achieve the purpose?
It's a wonderful feeling, because anyone achieving any dream, I remember the day that my parents came and put the 2 stars on my shoulders. It was such a surreal moment, because after a year of hard work where we were just running around, there was not a second to breathe, we finally achieved that moment where I would get to call myself a lieutenant and I'd get to serve my country. A lot that you do see in the movie, yes, of course it's glorified, but that does not mean it's not true. You have your hardships. I'm part of the air defense, and I am proud to be a part of an arm which has played a huge role in Operation Sindoor. And every day I'm lucky to be a part of this, and I'm grateful. It's just a wonderful experience to be here.
Thank you so much.
I'd rather call you as Miss Lieutenant. Well, you definitely broke all the conventional stereotypes that people have about